I first heard the SOS at 2:13 in the morning. When the sea outside our destroyer went so still, it felt like the Atlantic was holding its breath. I was alone in the radio room, half frozen, one hand around a tin cup of coffee that tasted like burnt rope. The convoy behind us was blacked out. 20 merchant ships moved through the fog, carrying fuel, shells, and tired men toward England. Our job was simple. Guard them from German U-boats. Keep listening. Stay alive. Then the static changed. It came under the noise, soft and uneven. Tap, tap, tap. I leaned closer to the headset. At first, I thought it was ice hitting the hull. Then the pattern came again. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, SOS. My throat went dry. I grabbed my pencil and wrote it down. The signal was weak, almost buried. No voice, no engine sound, no normal call sign. Just that broken cry for help. "This is Mercer," I said into the speaking tube. "Radio room to bridge. I have a distress signal." A few seconds later, Ensign Willis pushed through the door. "From who?" he asked. "I'm still pulling it out." He looked at the paper. "Could be jerrybait." "Could be," I said. But I did not believe it. The signal came again, clearer this time. I copied every mark as fast as my hand could move. SOS. Then a pause. I stopped breathing. The next letters came slow. "Meridian," I whispered. Willis frowned. "What?" "USS Meridian." He stared at me like I had spoken a dead man's name. Before he could answer, Chief Daniel Briggs stepped into the radio room. He had served on destroyers since before I knew what the Navy was. His face was hard, lined by salt, smoke, and too many burials. "What did you say?" he asked. I handed him the paper. The moment he read the name, his jaw tightened. Willis gave a nervous laugh. "Chief, you know that boat." Briggs did not laugh back. "Everybody knew that boat," he said quietly. "But she was decommissioned 10 years ago." The room felt colder. "That can't be right," I said. "She was stripped, written off, and marked for scrap," Briggs said. "I saw the notice myself." Willis pointed at the headset. "Then the Germans are playing games." "Maybe," Briggs said. But his eyes stayed on the paper. Then Lieutenant Harold Voss arrived. That was the first thing that truly scared me. Not the signal, not the name him. Voss was naval intelligence. Men like him did not run for simple mistakes. They moved slow. They asked calm questions. They made you feel stupid for being afraid. But he came in too fast. "What exactly did you receive?" he asked. I showed him the log. He read it once. Then he looked at me. "Destroy this copy." I blinked. "Sir, you heard me." Chief Briggs shifted beside me. "Lieutenant, if a vessel is sending distress—" "There is no vessel," Voss said. No one spoke. Voss folded the paper once. "This is likely enemy deception. We do not break convoy formation over ghosts." "Then let me confirm the code," said. His eyes sharpened. "You will do no such thing." That was when I knew he was not surprised. He was afraid. Captain Kane called from the bridge minutes later. The order came down hard. Radio silence, no reply. No report to the convoy. No change in course, and my log copy was to be destroyed. I placed the sheet near the little burn tin by my desk. Voss watched me strike the match. I let the flame take the edge. But before the whole message burned, I had already slipped the first strip into my sleeve. I was not trying to be brave. I was thinking of my brother. Edward Mercer had died at sea 2 years earlier, at least. That was what the Navy told my mother. A short letter. No body, no details, just brave words and a folded flag. When Voss left, I hid the strip inside Edward's last letter from home. My hands were shaking. Chief Briggs saw me do it. "You understand what that can cost you?" he asked. "Yes." "No," he said. "You don't." Before I could answer, the speaking tube whistled. Tommy Hale's voice came through from sonar, thin and scared. "Mercer, get down here." I ran. The sonar room smelled of sweat, oil, and fear. Tommy sat with his headset pressed hard against one ear. He was my closest friend aboard, but I had never seen him look that pale. "Listen," he said. I put on the spare headset. At first there was only the deep sound of water moving under steel. Then I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. A pause. Knock, knock, knock. My stomach turned. It was not Morse over radio. It was metal striking metal under the sea. Tommy whispered, "It's coming from below us." Willis stood behind us, trying to keep his voice steady. "Could be wreckage." Chief Briggs leaned close to the sonar dial. Wreckage doesn't answer. The knocking changed. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, SOS. No one breathed, then the radio room bell rang above us. I ran back so fast, I hit my shoulder on the ladder. The headset was still alive, hissing like an open grave. A final burst of Morse came through, weaker than before. I copied it with a hand I could barely control. MERCER. Then one more word, ALIVE. The signal died. I stared at the paper until the letters blurred. Behind me, Lieutenant Voss said, "Burn it." But this time I did not move. I did not burn the message. I stood in the radio room with Lieutenant Voss behind me, his voice low and sharp, and the paper shaking in my hand. Mercer alive. Those 2 words looked impossible. My brother Edward had been dead for 2 years. The Navy said his ship went down in bad weather south of Iceland. My mother still kept his folded flag in the front room, where sunlight touched it every morning like it was holy. Voss stepped closer. "Radioman Mercer, that is an order." I slowly folded the paper. "No, sir," I said. "Not until Captain Kane sees it." The silence after that felt louder than any alarm. Voss's face did not change, but his eyes did. For 1 second, he looked less like an officer and more like a man standing near a secret he could not control. Chief Briggs moved between us. "Lieutenant, the boy has a right to report a family name. He has a duty to obey," Voss said. Then the ship turned hard to port. My shoulder slammed into the bulkhead. The radio chair slid across the floor. Above us, boots pounded over steel. A voice came over the speaker. "All hands, stand by for course change. Convoy escort pattern is broken. Repeat, escort pattern is broken." Chief Briggs looked up, then back at Voss. "You said we weren't chasing ghosts," he said. Voss did not answer. I followed Briggs to the chart room. Captain Kane stood over a map with a lamp burning low. His face looked gray in the light. Ensign Willis was there too, trying not to look scared. "Our new orders are sealed," Kane said before anyone asked. "We are moving north-northwest." Briggs leaned over the map. "Sir, that takes us away from the convoy." "I know." "With respect, that is where ships disappear." Kane's jaw tightened. "That is enough, Chief." I saw the line drawn in pencil across the map. It led toward a blank part of the Atlantic, a cold, dead patch sailors talked about only when they were tired. No friendly lanes, no rescue range, unless somebody knew what was waiting. I waited until the others left, then slipped into the captain's file cabinet while Tommy kept watch. My hands shook as I turned the small brass handle. Inside was a casualty list from 1942. I found my brother's name, Edward James Mercer. But it was not crossed out in ink like the others. It was crossed out in pencil. I stared at it until my chest hurt. Tommy whispered from the door, "Frank, someone's coming." I shoved the file back just as Willis entered. "What are you doing in here?" he asked. "Looking for the coffee stores," I said. "In the captain's files?" I had no answer. Willis stepped closer. "You keep pushing this. You'll get all of us killed." Before I could reply, the lookout bell rang 3 times. Man in the water. We ran topside into fog so thick the ship looked cut in half. The sea was black and oily, with chunks of ice rolling beside us. A small lifeboat drifted off the starboard side, rocking like it had been placed there by a dead hand. One man lay inside. Dr. Lowell climbed down first. We pulled the sailor aboard, half frozen, lips blue, fingers locked around something on a chain. Dog tags, not his. The man opened one eye and grabbed my sleeve. "Don't let Voss take me," he whispered. My blood went cold. "What's your name?" I asked. "Samuel Reed," he said. "Engine room, USS Meridian." Willis backed away. Captain Kane looked at Voss. "You know this man." Voss's answer came too fast. "No." Reed laughed once, weak and ugly. Still lying. Dr. Lowell took him below to sick bay. I followed, but Voss stopped me at the hatch. "He is not to be questioned," he said. "Why?" "Because he is injured." "Then why are you more afraid than he is?" I thought he would strike me. Instead, he said, "Your brother is dead, Mercer. Let him stay that way." I could not breathe. That night, Tommy and I hid near sickbay while Reed spoke to Dr. Lowell behind the curtain. His voice came in pieces. Meridian was never scrapped. They painted over her number, sent us out with no flag, no name, no rescue plan. Lowell said, Who gave the order? Reed coughed hard. Intelligence. Voss Kane knew part of it. Most of the crew didn't know anything until we were already under. Tommy looked at me, pale. Then Reed said the words that broke something inside me. Edward Mercer was aboard when they sealed the hatch. The ship shook before I could move. A blast rolled under us, deep and heavy. The lights snapped off, then came back red. Men shouted in the passage. The alarm bell screamed. Tommy ran to sonar. I followed him down. He put on the headset, listened for 3 seconds, and his face emptied. "What is it?" I asked. He turned the dial, hands trembling. "Not a German boat," he whispered. Another explosion hit, closer this time. Dust fell from the ceiling. Somewhere above us, Captain Kane shouted for battle stations. Tommy pressed the spare headset into my hands. At first, I heard only water and metal groaning. Then the knocking started again. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short, SOS. But now it was rising. The sonar needle crawled upward. Tommy looked at me with terror in his eyes. "Frank," he said, "the Meridian is directly beneath us." And before I could answer, the whole ocean under our ship began to move. The first thing I remember was the sound. Not the alarm, not the men shouting, the sound under us. A deep metal scream rose through the hull, like the ocean was dragging a buried giant across stone. The deck jumped beneath my boots. Tommy ripped off his headset and grabbed the table. "Frank, she's coming up too fast." I looked at the sonar needle. It was climbing straight toward us. "Bridge," Tommy shouted into the tube. "Contact directly below." Captain Kane's voice cracked back. "Identify." Tommy looked at me, then forced the words out. "USS Meridian, sir." For 1 second, nobody answered. Then Kane said, "Hard starboard, engines full." The ship turned, but not fast enough. Something huge scraped beneath us. Men fell in the passage. Lights flickered red. Then came another sound, a German torpedo alarm. Willis burst into sonar, face white. "U-boat bearing east." She used the noise to close in. Tommy's hands flew over the dials. 2 contacts, 1 below us. 1 hunting us. I wanted Reed to say he had lied. I wanted my brother's name to go back into the grave where the Navy had put it. But Chief Briggs grabbed my shoulder. "Frank, this is bigger than you now. It's my brother." "I know," he said. "That's why you can't break." Captain Kane ordered depth charges, but Voss pushed in with a pistol. "No," he snapped. "No charges near that submarine." Kane followed him in. "Lieutenant, a German boat is lining up a shot." "And we have orders," Voss said. Chief Briggs stepped forward. "What orders?" Voss looked at Kane, then at us. His clean mask finally cracked. "The Meridian carried German code books from a prisoner ship," he said. "It also carried prisoners who were never reported. If the Germans recover it, convoy routes fall. If our own men find what is inside, command falls." My stomach turned. Kane closed his eyes. "You knew?" I asked him. "I knew she existed," he said. "I did not know men were still alive." Reed appeared in the doorway, leaning on Dr. Lowell. He looked half dead, but his eyes burned. "You knew enough," Reed said. Voss pointed the pistol at him. "Back to sickbay." Reed lifted the dog tags in his fist and threw them at my feet. They hit the deck with a small, sharp sound. I picked them up. "Edward James Mercer." The room tilted. Reed's voice shook. "Your brother sent the SOS. He kept tapping after our batteries died. He said if any Mercer heard it, he'd know the truth had found him." I could not speak. "What happened to him?" I asked. Reed looked down. He gave me the last escape suit. The words went through me slower than a bullet. A blast threw us sideways. The torpedo missed our stern by yards, but the wake slammed us hard. Men shouted damage reports. Fuel line hit. Rear gun jammed. Kane looked at the red-lit faces around him. "We can run," Willis said. "Get back to convoy." "And leave the Meridian?" I asked. Willis looked ashamed. Voss raised his pistol again. "That is exactly what we will do." Chief Briggs moved fast. He struck Voss's wrist. The shot went into the ceiling. I lunged with him. Tommy grabbed Voss from behind. We slammed him into the bulkhead, and the pistol clattered away. Kane stared at us like the whole war had stepped into that room. Then he picked up the speaking tube. "All stations," he said, "prepare depth charges. Keep them wide. Drive the German boat off, but do not hit the Meridian." Voss laughed from the floor. You'll hang for this. Kane looked at him. Maybe. But not before I become a decent man again. We dropped our last charges in a wide pattern. The explosions punched the sea open. The German contact turned away. Nobody cheered. We had minutes, Doctor. Lowell led the rescue team. I went with them, against every order still written in the book. We lowered lines into freezing spray as the Meridian's broken conning tower surfaced like a black tooth. Reed climbed down first. "Reed, no!" Lowell shouted. But Reed only looked back at me. "Your brother got me out. Let me get the rest." He vanished into the hatch. Cold smoke burst out. Then coughing men came up one by one. Thin faces. Dead eyes. Caesar, who had lived in darkness so long they covered their faces from our lamps. The last man handed me a metal message case. Edward said, "Give this to Mercer," he whispered. Reed never came back up. By dawn, the German boat was gone. Voss was locked under guard, and Captain Kane sat alone with the orders that had ruined us. Inside the message case was my brother's final note. "Frank, if this reaches you, don't waste your life hating men who obeyed cowards. Make the truth louder than they made the lie." I read it once. Then I broke down where no one could see me, with his dog tags pressed into my hand. I wanted revenge. But by morning, I chose the harder thing. I sent the truth. Every name, every order, every hidden death. When the Navy came for Voss, he would not look at me. Captain Kane resigned before they could strip him. Tommy survived, but he never wore headphones again. Chief Briggs told me some ghosts only leave when somebody finally speaks for them. My brother did not come home, but the lie that buried him did, and that was the only victory the Atlantic gave me. If this story pulled you into the dark side of war, please hit like. And if you want more Hidden We stories where every signal, every order, and every buried name matters, subscribe to the channel. The next episode continues with another classified wartime mystery, another message that should never have been heard, and another truth someone tried to sink before the world could find it.